Want to boost your brain power, sharpen your focus, and protect your memory? It's time to talk about the top 3 vitamins for brain health. These essential nutrients aren't just good for your body, they're vital for keeping your mind sharp and alert. Whether you're looking to improve memory, enhance mood, or reduce brain fog, these vitamins are your secret weapon. Stick around as we break down the powerhouses you need to add to your routine for a healthier, more focused brain. Trust me, your brain will thank you. Let's dive in. Number 1, Vitamin B9. Vitamin B9, or folate, is essential in the brain for 3 major reasons. It helps create neurotransmitters, supports brain cell repair through DNA synthesis, and helps detox harmful substances like homocysteine. Over 85% of brain-related biochemical reactions involving methylation rely on folate. When folate is lacking, everything from mood to memory starts breaking down. Research has found that up to 38% of people with depression have low blood folate levels. One large meta-analysis showed that people with low folate levels are 55% more likely to develop depression compared to those with normal levels. It's not just mood, low folate increases homocysteine, which is toxic. Homocysteine levels above 14 mol/L are associated with a 70% higher risk of cognitive decline. Folate deficiency is one of the main causes of this buildup. Brain MRIs of people with high homocysteine often show more brain shrinkage, especially in areas like the hippocampus, the memory center. In elderly patients, low folate has been linked with a 3-5 times higher risk of Alzheimer's disease. One study tracking over 1,200 older adults for 7 years found that those with the lowest folate intake had significantly faster brain aging and poorer cognitive test scores. Another clinical trial showed that folate supplementation in patients with mild cognitive impairment led to improved verbal memory and slower hippocampal atrophy, the part of the brain involved in long-term memory. In schizophrenia, folate plays a major role too. Studies have found that over 30% of schizophrenia patients have low folate, and up to 25% have a genetic variation, MTHFR-C677T, that impairs folate metabolism. In these patients, high-dose methylfolate, 15 mg per day, led to reduced negative symptoms, like social withdrawal and blunted emotion, within 12 weeks. Mood disorders like bipolar disorder also show strong connections. Low folate is associated with longer depressive episodes, and people with folate deficiency are less responsive to mood stabilizers. Adding folate to treatment protocols led to 33% improvement in mood scores compared to placebo in multiple double-blind studies. Pregnant women with low folate are at high risk of having babies with neural tube defects. This is well known. But what's less talked about is that low maternal folate also affects long-term brain development in children. Studies show that children born to mothers with low folate are more likely to have attention issues, lower IQ, and social behavior problems, and the effects can last for years. Now, let's talk about how to fix this deficiency, especially if you're a brain patient. Diet is important, but food alone may not always be enough, especially in cases of neurological disease or genetic issues. Folate from food has about a 50 to 60% absorption rate, while synthetic folic acid is absorbed at 85% or more. But here's the key: methylfolate, the active form, doesn't require conversion and is the best choice for patients with MTHFR mutations, which affect about 10 to 15% of the population globally. For brain-related issues, doctors often recommend 1 to 5 mg per day, depending on the severity. Luxury meals that are rich in natural folate and fit well in a recovery plan include dishes like grilled wild salmon with beet and lentil salad, organic poached eggs on sautéed spinach and sourdough toast, and roasted lamb with asparagus and black bean quinoa. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives 358 micrograms of folate. Kale provides 177 micrograms per cup, and asparagus adds around 260 micrograms per 6 spears. Combine this across meals and you can easily hit 600 to 800 micrograms daily, which is the recommended daily intake for people with higher needs, especially brain patients. Still, even the best meals can fall short when your body is under stress, aging, or recovering from illness. That's where supplementation steps in. Clinical trials have shown that patients with depression who took methylfolate, 15 mg/day, experienced a 42% greater response rate to antidepressants than those on medication alone. Another study showed that methylfolate added to antipsychotic treatment in schizophrenia patients led to a 20 to 25% reduction in total symptoms in 8 to 12 weeks. On the other hand, if folate levels remain low, the damage can spread. Brain volume loss in folate-deficient elderly can reach 0.5% to 2% per year. especially in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, key memory and thinking regions. Chronic folate deficiency has been linked to higher white matter lesions on brain scans, increasing the risk of strokes and vascular dementia by 30 to 40%. Signs and symptoms of folate deficiency in the brain usually begin slowly. You may notice brain fog, poor focus, low mood, or irritability. Over time, forgetfulness, confusion, and sleep problems become common. Around 25% of folate deficient adults report fatigue and cognitive dullness. If the deficiency becomes severe, you might feel numbness or tingling, a sign of nerve involvement. In extreme cases, especially when B12 is also low, patients can develop seizures or psychosis-like symptoms. Things to avoid if you want to protect your brain's folate levels include alcohol. Even moderate drinking can reduce folate absorption by up to 50%. Smoking interferes with folate transport in the body. Medications like methotrexate, phenytoin, and birth control pills can all reduce folate levels over time. Ultra-processed foods not only lack folate but also raise inflammation, making brain symptoms worse. So in simple terms, folate is like the brain's repair kit and power supply. Without it, thinking slows, mood drops, and brain aging speeds up. But with the right food, smart supplementation, and a lifestyle that supports recovery, brain function can bounce back, sometimes significantly. In studies, folate supplementation improved cognitive function by 25 to 30% and mood scores by 40 to 50% in patients who were deficient. If you want help choosing the right supplement dose, building a food plan, or checking if you have signs of deficiency, I can walk you through it step by step. Just say the word. Number 2, Vitamin B12, Cobalamin. Vitamin B12, or Cobalamin, is essential for brain health. It helps produce myelin, the protective sheath around nerves, and is involved in making neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Without enough B12, nerve signals slow down, leading to cognitive issues such as memory loss, depression, and even irreversible nerve damage. Approximately 10% to 40% of the population may have a metabolic B12 deficiency, which is often undiagnosed. In individuals over 60, about 25% experience this deficiency. Among those with cognitive impairments, low B12 levels are observed in 30% to 40% of cases. Elevated homocysteine levels, resulting from B12 deficiency, are associated with a 70% increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Studies indicate that individuals with low B12 levels may experience brain shrinkage at a rate 1.5 times faster than those with normal levels. Even mild deficiencies can impair memory, thinking, and balance. The primary cause of B12 deficiency is poor absorption. As people age, decreased stomach acid production can reduce B12 absorption by up to 60%. Conditions like gastritis or pernicious anemia can further hinder absorption. Vegetarians and vegans are particularly at risk, with studies showing up to 80% of long-term vegans having low or borderline B12 levels. Medications such as metformin, used for diabetes, can lower B12 levels by 20% to 30% over time. Acid blockers used for reflux can have a similar effect. For individuals with neurological symptoms, B12 deficiency can exacerbate existing conditions. A study found that those with early cognitive decline and B12 deficiency experienced a 42% faster deterioration. In depression cases, low B12 is linked with a 52% higher risk of poor treatment response. Supplementing B12 improved antidepressant outcomes by 30% to 40% in several studies. In schizophrenia, about 25% of patients have low B12 levels, and high-dose methylcobalamin supplementation improved cognitive symptoms in approximately 35% of cases. In elderly patients with memory loss, B12 treatment reduced cognitive decline by up to 30% over 2 years when started early. To address B12 deficiency, both dietary intake and supplementation are important. Rich sources of B12 include beef liver, shellfish, sardines, salmon, tuna, eggs, cheese, and milk. For example, a 3-ounce serving of beef liver provides over 1,000% of the daily requirement. A single egg offers about 10%, and a cup of milk provides approximately 18%. A serving of salmon can deliver 200% to 300% of the daily need. However, food alone may not suffice, especially in cases of absorption issues. Sublingual B12 tablets, particularly in the form of methylcobalamin, are effective due to their high absorption rates. Studies show that sublingual administration has a 90% absorption rate compared to 10% to 30% through the digestive tract. Daily doses ranging from 1000 to 5000 mcg are commonly used safely. For individuals with neurological symptoms, doctors may start with 1000 micrograms injections weekly for a month, then adjust the dosage. One study reported a 60% improvement in nerve symptoms after 3 months of injections. Mood symptoms improved by 40% to 50% with methylcobalamin treatment, and memory improved by about 30% in those with mild cognitive decline. In a large trial, participants receiving B12 and folate supplementation experienced 43% less brain shrinkage over 2 years compared to those on a placebo. To maintain or boost B12 levels, it's important to avoid factors that interfere with its absorption. Alcohol can reduce absorption by up to 40%. Smoking decreases blood flow to the brain and negatively affects B12 metabolism. Long-term use of acid blockers, antacids, and metformin can quietly lower B12 levels. Highly processed foods contain little to no B12 and can increase inflammation. Low-protein diets also reduce natural B12 intake, while caffeine doesn't directly lower B12. Excessive intake can exacerbate fatigue and mask early deficiency symptoms. Signs of B12 deficiency in the brain often develop gradually. Initial symptoms include fatigue, brain fog, poor memory, and mood swings. Approximately 30% of individuals report feelings of irritability or depression. As the deficiency progresses, nerve-related symptoms such as tingling, numbness in the hands and feet, and balance issues may arise. In long-term cases, MRI scans often reveal brain atrophy. Severe deficiency can lead to confusion, paranoia, hallucinations, or even seizures. In one study, 50% of patients with severe deficiency exhibited psychiatric symptoms before blood tests indicated anemia. Early treatment can reverse symptoms within weeks, but prolonged deficiency may result in permanent damage. Therefore, early detection and correction are crucial. In summary, vitamin B12 is vital for brain health, supporting memory, mood, and nerve function. Deficiency is linked to accelerated aging, increased memory loss, worsened depression, and greater neurological damage. However, with appropriate dietary choices, supplementation, and lifestyle adjustments, B12 levels can be restored, facilitating recovery and brain healing. It's never too late to begin the journey toward better brain health. Number 3, Vitamin D. Vitamin D is essential for your brain. It helps your brain cells grow, connect, and protect themselves. It keeps inflammation low and supports neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which affect your mood, focus, and memory. About 80% of vitamin D in your body comes from sunlight. Your brain has vitamin D receptors in many areas, including the hippocampus, which controls memory. This vitamin helps regulate calcium in brain cells, supports new neuron formation, and protects against oxidative stress. Vitamin D deficiency happens when your body doesn't get enough sunlight or can't absorb the vitamin properly. Around 1 billion people worldwide are estimated to have low levels. In people over 65, deficiency rates rise to 60%. In people with depression, 58% show low vitamin D. In those with Alzheimer's, up to 70% have insufficient levels. Research shows that people with very low vitamin D are 53% more likely to develop dementia. Low levels are linked to 25% slower processing speed and 40% higher risk of major depressive disorder. In brain MRI studies, people with low vitamin D show more white matter lesions and smaller brain volumes. If you're a brain patient, this deficiency can make your symptoms worse. Studies show vitamin D plays a role in reducing amyloid buildup, which is linked to Alzheimer's. Low levels also increase the chance of stroke by 60%. In Parkinson's patients, those with low vitamin D have twice the rate of falls and balance issues. In people recovering from brain injury, vitamin D deficiency slows recovery by nearly 30%. It also worsens fatigue, anxiety, and sleep quality. Your brain can't function at full power without it. To fix this deficiency, sunlight is your best source. Just 15 to 30 minutes a day on your skin can help. But if you live in a cold or cloudy area, or stay indoors a lot, food and supplements matter more. Fatty fish like salmon, tuna, sardines, and mackerel are rich in vitamin D. A 3-ounce serving of salmon gives over 100% of your daily need. 1 egg yolk gives about 10%. Fortified milk, orange juice, and cereals also help. Cheese, especially cheddar and Swiss, gives a small boost. A high-end meal like grilled salmon with lemon herb butter, served with roasted mushrooms and truffle mashed potatoes, gives you more than 600 IU in one plate. A luxurious breakfast of eggs Benedict with smoked salmon and hollandaise sauce provides over 500 IU. A dinner of tuna steak with wild rice and creamed spinach easily passes 400 IU. Even with the best diet, many people still need supplements. The body absorbs vitamin D best in the form of D3, known as cholecalciferol. For brain patients, daily supplements of 2000 to 5000 IU are often used. In studies, people with mood disorders saw a 40% improvement in symptoms after 8 to 12 weeks of D3 use. In people with cognitive decline, vitamin D improved mental clarity and reaction time by 25%. One study showed that taking 4000 IU daily reduced dementia risk by 40% over 5 years. Another showed a 30% drop in stroke risk after correcting deficiency. For people with multiple sclerosis or chronic fatigue, supplementing D3 improved energy levels by 35% and reduced brain fog. To protect your brain, avoid what lowers your vitamin D. Staying indoors too much is a major issue. Wearing heavy sunscreen all the time blocks production by up to 95%. Obesity reduces available vitamin D in the blood by about 50%, as it's stored in fat. Kidney and liver problems also lower active vitamin D. High alcohol intake interferes with its metabolism. Low-fat diets can reduce absorption, since vitamin D needs fat to be absorbed properly. Smoking and inflammation from processed foods can also worsen vitamin D function. Signs that your brain is low in vitamin D include fatigue, low mood, poor memory, slow thinking, and sleep troubles. About 40% of people with anxiety or depression report these symptoms before they know they're deficient. You might also feel more sensitive to stress, have trouble focusing, or feel mentally foggy. In advanced cases, people report dizziness, forgetfulness, and poor balance. Some experience muscle weakness and headaches. In older adults, low vitamin D is linked with more frequent falls and a faster drop in cognitive function. In summary, vitamin D is vital for your brain to function clearly and stay sharp. A deficiency can worsen brain-related conditions, slow healing, and increase your risk for memory loss, depression, and neurological diseases. About 50 to 70% of brain patients with symptoms like mood changes, memory loss, or fatigue are found to be low in vitamin D. The good news is that it's easy to correct with sunlight, food, and smart supplements. With enough vitamin D, your brain can work better, think faster, feel calmer, and stay stronger. Rebuilding your levels is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to protect your brain for the long run. And there you have it, the top 3 vitamins for brain health that can make a real difference in how you think, feel, and function every day. If you're ready to boost your brain power, it's time to get these nutrients in your routine. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips on how to take care of your mind and body. Stay sharp, stay healthy, and take control of your brain health today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.